Hello, people. This is JD again. And what am I going to talk about today? Two things, two videos. First one is going to be about how to kickstart our economy. Second thing is going to be about In God We Trust. Separate videos. But let's first talk about how to kickstart our economy. Exactly the same way I said in 2008. In 2008, when I was doing an interview over the TV, I didn't see the crowd, they were in some mall, and an individual said, "Well, what are we going to do for the economy?" I said, "It's what," they said, "What am I going to do for the economy?" I said, "It's not what I am going to do for the economy, it's what you do for the economy." And the guy said, "What do you mean what I do?" I said, "Buy a candy bar." They all laughed. And then the station didn't let me finish what I was saying. Buy a candy bar to kickstart our economy? Think about that for a few minutes. A candy bar. It's 50, 75 cents, a dollar. And that's going to kickstart our economy? It's the way you buy that candy bar. First, you're going to check and see if on the back of the label it says distributed by or made by. And if it's made within this country, that's the bar you want to buy. Second is you don't want to buy just a plain artificial sweetener. You want to buy one that's like a chocolate bar with peanuts in it. Or even Rice Krispies, little Krispies. Why? Now I'll explain it. Let's start with the chocolate. Well, the chocolate's not made in the United States. Well, it might be, but the bean is not. The bean is shipped to the United States. So that part of it don't help the economy. But how does the bean get off the ship? Oh, longshoremen at the shore. Oh, you just started to help the economy. For that bean to make that candy bar just gave that longshoreman a job. He had to work. But then that bean from the piers got to get somewhere to be processed into chocolate. Well, how's it get there? Well, they usually deliver it by trucks. Oh, then we have to employ a driver for the truck. Okay. And what else goes in? Well, we said peanuts. Well, where's peanuts come from? Oh, they come from farmers like in Virginia, North Carolina. Now you got these farmers employed. Getting the picture? Well, also, if it's milk chocolate, it's going to be using milk. That's why they call it milk chocolate. Oh, dairy farmers now. But how's it get from the farm in North Carolina or the dairy farm in Wisconsin? Oh, they truck it. Oh, truck drivers again. A couple more truck drivers with jobs. You getting the picture? Now, the place that makes it, do they take the bean and process it into cocoa, or do they use processed cocoa? If they use processed cocoa, then the beans have to go somewhere else to be processed. Oh, somebody else has a job. Well, it finally all gets together at, let's just use a candy factory somewhere inside the United States. You got the peanuts, you got the milk, you got the cocoa, you got the sugar. Oh, the sugar came from Alabama. Oh, another farmer and another trucker. Gosh, look at all the people you're employing just to buy that 50, 75 cents, maybe a dollar candy bar. Bottom line is, to buy that candy bar, you just employed maybe 16 to 20 people. See what I'm saying? But it doesn't have to be a candy bar. It could be a shirt. It could be a pair of pants. It could be a pair of shoes. Look at the label. Find one that says Made in America. That's how you kickstart. And it doesn't have to be the most expensive. Let me tell you something that was very interesting I seen on TV a long time ago. They went to a factory that manufactured vehicles. And they took out only out of the parking lot on the other side the vehicles that were manufactured in that factory. They were out. Okay, now all the other vehicles that were in there, and it was Chryslers, Fords, GM, and several foreign countries. And they're going to say, because the company was making a big thing about foreign cars. If you remember when they first started, people were really against them. So they said, okay, let's see what cars are left, other than the ones that were from this factory that people bought here, that are made in America. When they got through, they had like 6 or 8 cars, maybe 12, and they were Nissans, Hondas, something like that. None of them were American. The Fords went out, the GMs went out, and all the Chryslers went out at that time. Why is that? People did not realize this. Well, the GMs were made in Mexico. That's a foreign country. All of Chrysler at that time, if you remember, the Chrysler that's North American made, were made in Canada. It's only recently they started making cars back in the United States. And some of the Fords were made outside the United States. So when they thought they had a parking lot full of American-made cars with a couple of foreign cars, what turned out what they thought was foreign was American. So when you go to buy your car, look at where it was assembled. Now, if you remember, President Clinton said, well, we're going to go from a nation of production, in other words, making things, to a service nation, to serve things. Like the internet, stuff like that. Well, a service nation is a second-rate nation. Let me give you an example you can understand. A car manufactured in the United States creates new wealth. A car manufactured outside the United States creates new wealth where it's manufactured. Matter of fact, anything that is produced creates new wealth. Nothing else does. So, a car manufactured in the United States creates new wealth, usually in the area where they're at. And a car manufactured outside the United States creates new wealth. They both go to the dealership. We'll say they're both, just for sake, an American name company, one of the big threes. Okay? One of the cars was manufactured inside the United States. The other one was manufactured outside the United States. And they both go to different dealerships. Well, both dealerships are service-oriented centers. They don't produce and they don't make wealth. They only get their wealth from the production of the product, one from the United States, one from another country. So the profit or the money that's made by selling that car is secondhand from the production. The car that sells at the dealership that was sold in the United States continues to generate new wealth. The car that was made outside the United States generated no new wealth in the United States, and when it's sold, generates a small, very small percentage of wealth compared to the sale of the car. I mean, the production of the car, the whole line. So what does that mean to be a service country versus a production country? It means a service country is a second-rate nation. Economically, it's a second. It's depending on others for the product it is servicing. And heck, half the servicing we were doing ended up leaving the country anyway. Like Clinton said, we're going to be a service. No, that's no good for our economy. What's good for our economy is to have a balance of natural resources, products produced, and service. And what makes an economy strong and robust is the products produced are enough for the economy, plus other economies, and the service we render is enough for us, plus others, and our natural resources are utilized to its maximum resources. That's what makes a robust economy. That's what makes a growing economy. You have to have the balance of production, service, and natural resources. Well, natural resources, production, and service. And that is why, when I say to you, do you want to kickstart the economy? Buy a candy bar. It doesn't have to be a candy bar. It could be a shirt. It could be a pair of gloves. It could be a pair of shoes. It could be a computer, it could be a TV, it could be a home, a car. But when you go to buy, look for, as much as possible, made in America. When you buy made in America, you are kick-starting our economy. When you buy in another country, now you've taken our economy, made it a second-rate economy, and only provide service. For example, most of the things you buy from Walmart are a service. Because Walmart provides the service, they make some profit, but the real profit is made where the product is made. The real new wealth. And that's what you've got to understand. An economy needs to constantly create new wealth, which means it must take natural resources, which are grown, and creates new wealth, and develops it into a product, which again creates new wealth, and then a service renders off of the ability to sell the product to the customer. The smallest of creation of new wealth is service. It's the smallest percentile. It's the biggest markup, but the smallest percentile. So, how do we kickstart our economy? I will still tell everyone, buy a candy bar. But make sure the candy bar has a little bit more than chocolate in it, like peanuts, and that it is manufactured in the United States. If you want to buy t-shirts, see if it's manufactured in the United States. If there's none, then, or if the t-shirts in the United States is way out of price, then. But do your best to try to buy something, just even a little small candy bar, to help the American economy. So that we become a nation of natural resources, production of finished products, and servicing or the retail sale of those finished products. And that's how you have a robust economy. Thank you. This is JD, and that's what I mean by when you ask me, how can we do something for our economy? And I say, buy a candy bar. Thank you. Have a nice day. This is JD.